Hey everyone, Lex here. In this video I'm going to be briefly showing you how easy it is to render down your own beef tallow at home, but there is some key points we need to briefly discuss before we dive further into the video. Beef tallow is a loose term that could mean any and all beef fat rendered down into its liquid state. I render my tallow down from suet, but it's its own special category of tallow. I refer to the fat rendered from cuts of meat as drippings. Now, what are the difference between these two types of fat? Suet is the white hard fat that grows specifically around the kidney areas of a cow. It has a neutral flavor and scent once it's rendered down. It is considered to be better for baking, and it also has a much higher melting point than drippings. The drippings, on the other hand, tend to have much more of a beefy flavor and aromas, and it is much softer at room temperature. Drippings are when you shave off the edges of the fat from cuts of meat and you render that down into its own pool of tallow. This can be a negative because you can get meat particles in it, which make your tallow spoil a lot faster. Now, what you prefer to use is up to you. I definitely prefer to use suet, and that's what I will be showing you in this video. But some people have trouble finding and sourcing suet, but me at my local grocery store, they keep it on hand, so it's very easy for me. But a couple of key points if you're going to be rendering tallow down from suet: watch out for little gelatinous or bloody bits tucked into the suet. You want to make sure you cut that out as you're chopping up your suet. But you can see it's a pretty simple chop, and we're throwing it in a crock pot, and we'll be letting it ride for about 8 hours. So montage of clips, it's skipping about every hour or so. You can see the suet is getting softer and rending out a lot of fat. This takes about 8 hours or so. So once the suet bits look extra crispy, frying in the fat, that's usually a good indicator that it's ready to come out. Once that seems to be done, we're going to take spoons, strainers, sieves, cheesecloths, anything you can have to wring out the suet chunks left over from the actual liquid tallow itself. Pretty easy operation. And once your beef tallow is packaged into airtight, closed containers, it will last about upwards of a year long, especially if it's tallow rendered down from suet. So this kind of concludes the portion of the video of how to render down the tallow from suet. It's a very straightforward, easy operation. This tallow can be used for candle making, soap making, but I live a seed oil free lifestyle, so I'm going to show you a handful of cooking applications for the tallow. So the first application of this tallow is going to be deep frying. I'm going to do up some corn chips out of these tortillas that I have. I'm using tallow from my freezer that I've already used to fry tortillas with. It's pretty clean when they fry, so I have no qualms about reusing the oil. Just I strain any of the extra bits out of it and keep it in the fridge or freezer, and it will last. So after throwing them in the oil and tossing them around for about 5 minutes, I pull them and immediately, while they're still hot, hit them with a generous amount of salt. Now, if you have a large party coming up and you want to do 30, 40 tortilla chips at one go, you'll just have to add a lot more tallow into the pan, but it's pretty forgiving, so you can do quite a few at a time. And honestly, I've made these tortillas for quite a few parties now, and they're always a heavy hitter. People want that more than other foods that I made, just the plain tortillas. So as long as you have a high quality corn tortilla, it's foolproof that they will turn out fantastic. And now once you're done with that oil, you're just going to run it through a strainer or again cheesecloths and sieves to get out any of the particulates. I don't mind if there's a little bit in there, and just put it back in the container, and I'll keep it in the freezer so it lasts as long as possible. So in this container, you can see that I have a couple of the cubes and chunks in here that I have previously fried with, and this is still good, very usable for cooking. It's better than having it immediately go to waste. It can be used a couple of times for the tortillas, but I'll show you we could just cook up some regular eggs with it. So, in conclusion, if you're rendering down your own beef tallow from Suet, you'll see that it's way more cost effective because some of the online retailers are selling it for a lot of money, but it's also a very, very easy way to introduce clean eating into your diet. As always, thank you much for watching the videos, and I hope to see you all again soon.